mostly fans and sponsors, but people were riveted. They were riveted to what Stranges had to say. They were riveted to what Nieuwendyk had to say. They really appreciated the speeches by Langenbrunner and Dan Stukel. And I can't say this enough, every team should be doing this. Every team. Because the way Nieuwendyk got up there and spoke, and the way Stranges got up there and spoke, like, every team's got great players who maybe don't get their number retired, but they should be honored by the team. And every team's got great builders. Like, hey, like when the Dallas Stars or the Dallas Stars got there from Minnesota, Ralph Stranges, the play-by-play guy, had to sell the team to the fans there. And there's a connection. You know, people want to hear from those guys. Like, you know, Joe Bowen is retiring this year in Toronto. Like, I think there should be, like, something should be named after him. You know, maybe they name the radio booth after Joe Bowen. I don't know. I don't have a good answer, but there should be a night where everybody gets to hear from him. And there's a lot of good Toronto Maple Leaf players or great Toronto Maple Leaf players that maybe don't have their numbers retired, but you can still honor them. Like, everybody should be doing this. It's such a great night. So I really enjoyed, and I'm not looking forward to my early morning flight, which is really creeping up on me as we're doing this podcast. But Kyle, it's these are, like, there's a lot of great people in the sport who deserve to be celebrated, and this is a real highlight for me to go to this every year.
Awesome. Very well said, Elliot. I totally agree with you. You may not know the difference between Cornell and Colgate, but you raise a very good argument here. And you know how to pick a 50-goal scorer before they pop.
That's right. Here's the problem. Cornell and Colgate, they both begin CO. They both got 7 letters. They both are in New York. It's not my fault they're too confusing. It's clearly their fault.
That's right. This is an issue they need to sort out between themselves.
That's right. This is not my fault. It's their fault.
Excellent. Great way to leave it. That was the final thoughts, and with that, we'll take our first break. Elliot's got a flight to catch, so we better get to the final thought, which will be on the other side. 32 Thoughts, the podcast, continues after this. So now that I live out west again, part of the scenery when I'm out for a drive includes the mountains off in the distance, looking more and more snow-capped as we get deeper into the fall. Now, I've let it be known I am team summer over team winter, but I'll admit, those views leave me daydreaming a little bit about a getaway to somewhere like Banff or Whistler. If I'm going to be out in the cold, may as well be somewhere beautiful, enjoying some après ski while I'm at it. As our family maps out our travel schedule for the next few months, we've also been looking at hosting our own home on Airbnb. We realized where we live could be a perfect launch point for someone wanting to spend a weekend touring the Rockies. There are plenty of times during the year we're away for extended periods and the house just sits empty. Hosting on Airbnb could be an easy way to earn a little extra, which is important because you can never have too many layers to wear this time of year. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host.
Hot take. Ads when all you want is your music or a podcast kinda sucks. Even hotter take. You should be able to get the job you went to school for. Not every college delivers on that. We do. Robertson trains you to land the job and lead in the field. Enroll at Robertson today. Get the job. Robertson, a college that actually gets you hired.
When I got a great deal on a great gift at Winners, I started wondering, could I get fabulous gifts for everyone on my list? Like this designer fragrance for my daughter. At just $39.99? How could I resist? This luxurious wool throw for my sister. This gold watch for my partner. A wooden puzzle for my niece. Leather gloves for my boss. Ooh, European chocolate for the crossing guard? At these prices, could I find something for everyone at Winners?
Stop wondering. Start gifting. Winners. Find fabulous for less.
Okay, welcome back. Where, oh where will the thought line take us today, Elliot Friedman?
I'll give you one guess.
Okay. The Does it have to do with furry bandits?
I got a lot. I got a
so did I.
lot of comments. Okay, good.
Let me just say
do you want to
this.
do the furry bandits first or last?
Well, it's the hot topic. Griffin
Okay.
Porter's saying it's one of the most heavily replied Thoughtline submissions in terms of topics. Never before has he seen such a rush of new mails, new letters in the inbox than responses to your current situation with the raccoons.
Predicament? Okay,
Yes.
great. Hopefully somebody here's got some answers.
There's a few here that I'm ready to, and they are legitimate attempts at trying to help you out.
Great.
So do you want to start here, or do you have something you want to get to first?
Well, first of all, just a couple of things I wanted to shout out. First of all, Captain Warren Latimer, a frequent listener of the pod, was the pilot today who took me from Toronto to Dallas for the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. So I wanted to shout him out for a quick flight. We were a bit delayed, but our time in the air was faster than expected. I'd like to think, Captain Latimer, it was because you wanted to get me there quick, but I know that's not true. Nice, safe, smooth flight. Air Canada's finest. All right, a couple of non-raccoon things, Cal, I wanted to get to. First of all, out of nowhere on Saturday night came a note into my For You tab that November 15th was the 47th anniversary of the release date of The Gambler. And I think that is I'm not a karaoke guy, I'm really not. But if you ask me the best sing-along song of all time, I think it's The Gambler. There were a lot of great memories when I was young about singing this song with other people, although I admit I have the worst singing voice in the world. Now, some people suggested Take Me Home Country Roads, John Denver. Other people put in Piano Man by Billy Joel. Others suggested Sweet Caroline, which is big in the sports world, by Neil Diamond. Others went for Mr. Brightside by The Killers. But for me, The Gambler is always number one. And there was a post from Teacher Bailey 22. My friend's family owned a local racetrack. Doug Harvey, yes, that Doug Harvey, the Hall of Fame defenseman, worked for his father. Doug would pick us up sometimes if we needed a lift. In his tape deck was a permanently stuck copy of Kenny Rogers' greatest hits. My friend could recite all of the songs. Let me just say this. If I was in a car and a tape got stuck, you could do a hell of a lot worse than Kenny Rogers' greatest hits. I was once on a drive to Montreal, from Toronto to Montreal, and it was my girlfriend at the time, and the tape that got stuck in her tape player was The Specials. And I must have heard a message to you, Rudy, about 600 times on that trip. And while that's a good song, it is nowhere near as good as The Gambler. Second thing I wanted to mention, on the last pod, I referenced pole vaulting and mentioned Sergei Bubka, who in my 20s was the pole vaulting god of the world. And Tim Larry wrote in to say, yo, Frege, if you're going to use pole vault references, modernize your analogy. Bubka was great, but most under the age of 35 won't know him. Mondo Duplantis is the man. He is now the pole vault king. So shout out Mondo Duplantis.
Good, because I was one of those ones under 35 going, I'm sure he was great.
Oh, you didn't know him,
I
eh?
don't remember, no. No, I'm not as well brushed up on my pole vaulting history as maybe hockey or a little bit of baseball.
I will
haven't got
forgive
there
you
yet with pole
just
vaulting.
this once.
Thank you, thank you. Okay.
All right. You want to
Let's
hit
get
me
to
with
the
the
Raccoon
raccoons?
Help Center.
Okay. Sure, okay.
Okay, we've got a few here to rip through. Chad. After listening to Elliot talk about his war with the raccoons, I just wasted 30 minutes trying to install Twitter or X or whatever that stupid thing is called just to find out I can't, or more likely I'm not smart enough to send a message directly to Elliot. But I am currently an owner of a pest control company in Utah and enjoy the pod as I drive around killing things, mostly bugs. I'm glad he clarified the bugs part. But an easy trick that I have found that helps with raccoons is very similar to what you tried with your own urine, but instead of your own, you can get fox, coyote, cougar, and many other types off of Amazon. Oh my goodness. Get a few bottles of that and spread it around every few days as if there was a real raccoon predator. And he says, sorry, Elliot, you pose no threat to them, and kudos to whoever told you that and is laughing hysterically as you go around your yard every night to do your business. See if that can help.
Excuse me, Mr. Friedman, we've been noticing you've ordered a lot of urine.
There's a wide variety of animals.
I will say I did get a lot of that. Ex-user, the old Johnny Boy, he sent me a link to coyote urine, and I had a couple other people on Instagram also say wolf urine. So urine, just not mine, was a very popular answer.
Yours wasn't mean enough. Okay, Dr. Kevin from Toronto. Hello, Elliot. I've lived in Toronto since '94 and have had raccoons many a time going through the garbage and even being in the garbage can when I go to put out things into said garbage can. I'm a chiropractor, and long ago a patient of mine told me, stuff marshmallows with cayenne pepper or the hottest peppers you can find and leave them out in the raccoons will not come back. Her theory, would you go back to a bad restaurant? It's worked everywhere I have had issues. Same patient let me know sprinkling cloves around can keep mice out. Good luck, let me know how it goes.
It's interesting. Thank you very much, doctor, for that. And I'm going to try that. That's a really good idea. There was a time when I did put cayenne pepper and I mixed it with something. I can't remember if it was water or something else. And I spread it around the area. And it worked for a short period of time, but not long enough. And a couple people did say to me, it probably has to be hotter than cayenne pepper. So that is something I will go back to. I appreciate that one. That's a new one. Thank you.
Okay, one more from Kelso. Elliot, there's only one solution that worked for me in the city. Mothballs. Yep, mothballs. Take a handful, put them in a sock, nail the sock in the area that they've marked, including under the barbecue. If you don't nail it down, they'll just swat it away. They hate the scent. It worked for me. Failing this, burn your house down and start over.
That's outstanding. You know what's interesting about that is I've heard about mothballs before. Number one, I don't know where you can get them, and number two, the thing I worried about was like technically a mothball could poison them, and I was worried about getting charged with that. But I'm going to look back into this. Okay, I wanted to shout out a couple other people.
Yeah.
Will Minen sent me like a note. Mr. Friedman, 0 raccoon, like 100 billion. I had one guy, Daniel Gershoff, who sent me a rap song about a woman being trapped in a car because a raccoon was outside of it. I actually listened to it. It was pretty funny. I don't want to mention the name of this person because they suggested some things that are not legal in Canada. And even though they're based in the U.S., I don't want to get them in any kind of trouble. But she said she was listening to 32 Thoughts, and her father has owned an animal removal business for the past 20 years. I know you said that you are live trapping the raccoons and setting them free, but she wrote, just an FYI, you have to drive a minimum of 40 miles, 64 kilometers away, or they will be able to get back to your house.
That seems like a real long way.
I mean, it's like you have to burn 3 tanks of gas to get rid of this raccoon. But I didn't realize that. I honestly, I thank you very much for sending me this. I have no idea if they're being driven that far away, but it would explain a few things. Raccoons love honey buns and peanut butter if you're trying to trap them. I have a feeling after this, I'm not going to be live trapping them anymore. If they've got to be driven 65 kilometers away, I don't know if anyone's going to be doing that. And then I got one more story, and I got to tell you, I don't know that I believe this is true, but it's so funny that I have to include it. Okay?
Yeah.
From Jim. Love the pod and empathetic to your raccoon problem. Similarly, I dealt with rodent issues. Mine was skunks. Perhaps this will work for raccoons. I was told to spread human hair around the perimeter of my house. I have none myself, so I went to a barber shop and asked for a bag of hair with gloves on. Ugh. Proceeded to spread the hair around my property. Surprisingly, it worked.
Oh. Was it worth it?